Dan at RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there is having themselves an awesome day. It's been really, really cool for me lately. So I wanted to bring a couple things up and do a quick show on it. Obviously, we're calling this one Back Into the Vortex. And the song we just played was Gloria Estefan. Turn the beat around. Good tune. Back in the day. And of course, this is Dan RadioStyle's the channel. Please subscribe. That's Dan space RadioStyle. It's one word. Please subscribe. I need to get those YouTube numbers up, so I really appreciate it because I know this is going out in a number of different places. So if you can just hop on a YouTube, maybe do a little something on there, a little something. Just saying, I could use the numbers. So the reason I kind of brought this along is past day and a half. I've been doing something very unique to kind of turn my energy around. And it's something that I'd kind of noticed over the preceding, week or so. Been kind of weird. Like, I keep thinking, I'm doing really good, doing great, all this stuff. And then I really started paying attention. I'm like, no, I'm missing a beat on a couple of things. That's why I was turning that around. See? You see how I come back around on that whole Gloria Estefan thing? Anywho. So sometimes in life, we're going to be using different lenses that we're going to look through. So say, for example, you're kind of coming from an angry place, and then you start looking out on the world, and you're getting on Facebook, and you see all those news stories, and you see all these things that just make you more and more angry. A lot of angry stuff out there. Or conversely, maybe you're in a place right now where you're just deeply in love, starting a new relationship, right? And it's just so in love and everything's so groovy. And then everywhere you look, you see couples like cuddling up with each other and just loving on each other. You're seeing love everywhere you go. Or maybe you're in a place right now where you're kind of scared often, right? Freaked out. I'm afraid I'm going to get sick. I'm afraid I'm going to this. I'm afraid my child's going to whatever, right? So we're seeing fear everywhere we look. The lenses that we have are really based off of the energy that we're holding right now. So likes attract likes. These energies that we have at this moment are really what we're perceiving life with. Everything's happening all around us. Good, bad, fair, scary, angry. All these things are happening simultaneously. It's just based off of what lens we pop up in front of us is what we're seeing. So that's kind of why you get the big benefit of trying to keep these energies under control, or maybe better put, kind of help guide them down the correct path. And that'll make a huge difference as far as what you're experiencing. And then what you experience and see helps you kind of build and manifest those realities. So again, what you think, what you say, what you do, yes, that is what we're manifesting, but your energy is kind of what helps bring that about. So what we're trying to do essentially is we're trying to train our ability to perceive. We're trying to train ourselves to be mindful of what we're seeing out there and then realizing, okay, I'm seeing things I don't necessarily want to see. So let's try to fix that. Let's try to think of a way that I can get myself back to neutral. So to borrow something that I'm super fond of and I highly recommend, Jerry and Esther Hicks, they do this thing called the Law of Attraction. It's an amazing series, a lot of great stuff on YouTube surrounding them. And Esther channels this being, I guess it's a being, called Abraham. Amazing stuff, and it's kind of cool when you hear her go into her channeling thing. You hear her do these breathing, and then all of a sudden she's like, she's Abraham. It's pretty cool. Anyway, the advice that is given is beyond awesome, so highly recommend that. But one of the major things she promotes is being tuned in, tapped in, and turned on. When you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on, you're in what's called the vortex, and the vortex is like the energy that is like coming down, if you will. So like when you're in the vortex, like all the things are kind of guided. You're sort of in your happy place. You're in a very receptive mode. And so it's a way to kind of help get ourselves in the direction that we're trying to go. So getting ourselves in the vortex sometimes can be a little bit of a challenge, especially like what I've been going through over the past week, where there's this friend of mine that I keep having these little debates in my mind, like little things where I don't necessarily agree with what he's saying, but he's got opinions that matter, and he's he's a brilliant guy and all this stuff, but having all these little debates, and I keep doing this. Or love life, for example, kept having these little when I get X, Y, and Z in line, then these things will start to happen. Again, not necessarily not true, but at the same time, not helping my energy, not helping where I'm coming from. That lens I'm popping on is not getting me into the vortex. So what I did a day and a half ago, literally, is I said, okay, every time I catch myself doing this, I'm just going to remind myself, tuned in, tapped in, turned on. That's it. That's it. That's all I was saying to myself. Tuned in, tapped in, turned on. I'd say it 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Doesn't matter. I'd say it enough times to just kind of get me out of the thought process. And generally speaking, I'd kind of get this smile. I'd feel a little bit lighter and happier, and I'd just kind of continue on. Well, in a day and a half, literally, I've seen all sorts of things start to change in my life in very positive ways. I've had some really super things come to my attention. I've had some really neat symbols show themselves. I had a friend kind of come out of the woodwork and share some interesting news with me. That's very cool. So a lot of really, really interesting things have come about just by me kind of getting my focus back to where it should be and essentially getting myself back into the vortex. So again, it's what we're trying to remind us is how can we catch ourselves? How can we be mindful of the thoughts we're having? And really, to turn this to one last point, there was a Twitter post that someone shared that was like the Buddha or something, and it had something to do with being mindful of unguarded thoughts. And the thoughts that are unguarded are the ones that get us. And that's what I was doing for a week and a half. I had all these unguarded thoughts, and I was just playing them out in my head, playing them out, thinking, I'm not being negative. I'm not being mean. I'm not wishing horrible things. But I wasn't really being in the vortex. I wasn't really helping my energy. So again, by stopping that and just saying, tuned in, tapped in, turned on, tuned in, tapped in, turned on, try it. Give it a few days. I guarantee you're going to see some amazing magic happen in your lives. It's Dan RadioStyle. Please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate that very, very much. And of course, if you can, if you want to contact me, feel free. It's spiritradiodanstyle@gmail.com. And we're going to be going out with Bonnie Tyler's song, Turn Around, or no, Total Eclipse of the Heart. There you go. It's just because of the turnaround parts why I grabbed the song anyway. But there you go. Dan RadioStyle. Thanks so much for joining me. We'll be doing more shows soon.